Jacob stood at the edge of a life-changing decision. His son Joseph, once thought dead, was alive and ruling in Egypt. But moving meant leaving behind the land God had promised, so Jacob stopped in Beersheba and offered sacrifices to God. That night God spoke, "Jacob, do not be afraid to go to Egypt. I will make you a great nation there. I will go with you, and I will bring you back." Encouraged, Jacob gathered all his family, sons, grandsons, livestock, and all possessions, and set out. 70 people made the journey, the entire house of Israel. As they neared Egypt, Jacob sent Judah ahead to find Joseph, and then there he was. Joseph, dressed like royalty, ran to his father. They embraced and wept for a long time. "Now I can die," Jacob said, "because I've seen your face again." Joseph told his family to say they were shepherds when they met Pharaoh. Egyptians didn't like shepherds, but Pharaoh would give them the land of Goshen, perfect for their flocks and close to Joseph. God had turned a famine into a family reunion. In chapter 47, Joseph took 5 of his brothers to meet Pharaoh. They explained they were shepherds and asked to stay in Goshen. Pharaoh welcomed them and even offered Joseph's brothers roles as shepherds over his own livestock. Then Jacob himself stood before Pharaoh. At 130 years old, he blessed Egypt's king. It was a quiet but powerful moment, God's chosen man blessing the ruler of a mighty nation. The famine worsened. People came to Joseph desperate for food. First, they gave all their money, then livestock, and eventually their land and themselves. Joseph bought it all for Pharaoh, giving seed in return so they could grow crops. He didn't oppress them, he organized survival. The people said, "You saved our lives." Meanwhile, Israel thrived in Goshen. As his life neared its end, Jacob made Joseph swear to bury him in Canaan with Abraham and Isaac, not in Egypt. In chapter 48, as Jacob grew weak, Joseph brought his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to be blessed. Jacob, though nearly blind, sat up to greet them. "These 2 will be like my own sons," he said, adopting them into the tribes of Israel. Joseph positioned Manasseh, the older, at Jacob's right hand and Ephraim at the left. But as Jacob raised his hands, he crossed them, giving the greater blessing to the younger. Joseph interrupted, "No, father, Manasseh is the firstborn." But Jacob said, "I know my son. He will be great, but Ephraim will be greater." Jacob had lived this. He too was the younger, yet chosen by God. Now he passed that divine surprise on. He blessed them both and said, "May God, who has been my shepherd all my life, bless these boys." He called on the God of Abraham and Isaac, passing on a legacy that stretched back generations. In chapter 49, Jacob called all his sons around his bed. 12 men, 12 futures. What he spoke wasn't just a father's blessing, it was prophecy. To Reuben, his firstborn, "You had strength, but you were unstable. You will not excel." To Simeon and Levi, "Your violence brings judgment." Then he turned to Judah, "Your brothers will praise you. You are a lion. The scepter will not depart from you." From Judah would come kings, David, and eventually Jesus. Zebulun would dwell by the sea. Issachar would carry burdens. Dan would judge. Gad would fight back. Asher would have rich food. Naphtali would be like a free deer. Joseph, a fruitful vine, strong, blessed. Benjamin, a ravenous wolf. Each received a tailored message, truth wrapped in vision. Then Jacob reminded them of the family burial place in Canaan. After speaking, he breathed his last. In chapter 50, Joseph fell on his father's face and wept. He had Jacob embalmed, and Pharaoh granted him permission to bury Jacob in Canaan. An Egyptian entourage, chariots and elders joined the family, a national honor for a foreign shepherd. They buried Jacob in the cave of Machpelah. The journey home was quiet, but Joseph's brothers were anxious. What if he still holds a grudge? Now that father is gone. They sent a message, "Please forgive us." Then they came, bowed down and said, "We are your servants." Joseph wept. "Am I in God's place? You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to save many lives. He comforted them, promised to provide for their families, and kept his word. Joseph lived to 110. Before dying, he reminded them, "God will come to your aid. Take my bones when you go." His final words were filled with faith, looking ahead to deliverance.